So I left up on this book. Come back to that a little bit. Uh, Coming to this book now. I guess you need a handbook for travelers in the Mesozoic era. But I just like it because it's got dinosaurs in it. Talk about dinosaurs, and we can't talk about dinosaurs to see pictures of dinosaurs very often. So, the subject matter of this video, I wanted to stay focused on is HBO. Kind of narrow it down in the whole satellite frequency of HBO as it's designed. I know a lot of people are familiar with HBO. It was a whole atmosphere, a whole just like layer of consciousness. When we were kids, we were like, oh, if you didn't have HBO, you weren't cool as a kid. Like, you had to have HBO, man. If you didn't have HBO, you weren't in. You didn't know what was going on. That whole identity, that whole reality itself is a program that's designed, that was designed in its infrastructure to create this need, to create this sort of idea about this culture called the home box office world. And right now is where it's coming into play. They're starting to merge this into the mainstream even more so. You can see with their documentaries about Scientology, want to try to merge the information. I call HBO people like Bill Maher and John Oliver and Jon Stewart and even Stephen Colbert, like all of those people, the midstream media. Because they're just selling the same old stories, because you have to focus on what they're not talking about to see what it is that they're really saying. What they're not talking about is way more important about than what it is they are saying, because what they're saying is all within a whole little a little channel of understanding that is just the bigger part of the illusion. Just like the pre-Columbian, this is nothing but, the midstream media is nothing but a post-Columbian era addition, like an addendum, like an amendment to the post-Columbian era history, and they're just adding on top of broken stuffs and selling a story. They have to like build up these ideas of reality, of these illusions, have to build them up. Like the news is a bigger thing. If something is so, whether it's true or actually happened or not, the story itself was made, created for a purpose. And they're not playing with specifics. They're playing with large numbers. These are, when you get into subconscious frequencies of peoples, then it's nothing really specific. You're playing with like large groups, so they split it into like entire countries. So that's where you come into the flag and the dividing of the flags of people, and creating these ideas of this is this kind of people and this is this kind of people. These have these kind of ideals, and those have it's all separation. So when you mix in the intelligent intent that is behind these grand scale stories, you can see the dots being connected all over the planet, over time, timeline and timeline again, culture and culture again, genocide and genocide again, that these stories are all part of a bigger story. So back to HBO. I gotta stay on top of it. Back to HBO. HBO was fed to the millennials. I'll speak from my perspective right now. It was fed to us like candy, like junk food. It was there. It was like, this is yours. This is your culture. This is what you think your reality is. This is everything that you want to be. You want to be like this. This is success. This is what. So all the stories, from the movies to the television shows, and the deepest part of HBO is the stuff they try to tell you that is for the people. Stuff like Bill Maher, like that dude is still on TV. Why is Bill Maher still on TV? That dude is still talking the most separating ideas on this planet. He is selling. He is one of the biggest sellers of this kind of still festering information stream that is being sold to people to keep this idea of relevance. Really, there's no relevance to him having a show. That's the bottom line. There's no relevance to Bill Maher having a show. You go through all of his shows and read his stories backwards from a perspective of subconscious magic and subconscious information being fed to his entire following, then you can see what's being shared, and it's like nasty. It's like having a cold. Watching Bill Maher is like having a cold. Having him sit up there talk about what he's selling, these ideas, these perspectives, that attitude, as if it's like this is how America is. They're creating foundations for what a collective stream should think like. And these are just like the flows. Like John Oliver, he came in to validate the existence of Bill Maher a little bit longer. He came in to just sell a deeper idea of relevance. And you can see the biggest picture, just like in stories. Everybody in your movie is a Caucasian, and they're selling a Caucasian version of reality. Everybody from your forefathers, through your education system, through the police on the streets, through the professors in the university, through the politicians in the White House. It's all a design to create, and this all links back to reinforce the identity of people's connection to God. And you go straight into that whole bushy beard and bushy hair white male, which can be validated by the existence of the so-called biggest religion on the planet, Christianity, with a blonde-haired, blue-eyed Jesus. So all of these are just reinforcements of themselves, and the Bill Mahers of the TV, and they come in to sell these stories on a deeper layer of understanding and listening. Your ears get bigger when you listen to somebody who looks like your God. So when they say that your God is this Jesus, then it's a magic that people don't really pay attention to, because it doesn't really, if you haven't activated the story behind the story, then you won't see the story that's being sold. So it is very much down to and that's why I'm playing Pandora right now, to let the commercials play through these videos so we can see how it's everywhere you look, it's everywhere you go, it's everything you listen to. You can't sit on a bus stop, you can't without seeing a billboard. You can't. In fact, you can drive down Broadway in Oakland and go see the billboards that are down there and see what kind of storylines they're selling to people. They're selling weakness and sickness and disease and limitation and lack. They have these billboards that say, "We buy ugly houses," and they have these giant billboards everywhere. What does that do to a child's mentality? What does that do to the people who live there? What does that do to the structure of a human power? And what does that do? How far does this stuff go? And it's not just because this and that and that and this. No, these have intents behind them. There's very much intent behind the information that is going on the subconscious layer and on these commercials. And if you can see in your food that your food is tainted with stuff that shouldn't be in there, well, ask yourself, besides asking like, oh, how can we get it out? No, ask why. Ask why, like a child would ask. Ask why. Why so much? Why the depths of these stories, and why are these things happening? Not just can we stop them, but why are these happening so these things don't happen again, and we don't miss the things that are also happening right now. that are the same story and just in a different flavor, a different version. Because if we just accept things just because they're told to us, just like on HBO, I'm gonna get back on topic now. HBO, we'll miss a huge part of the bigger story here. And there is a huge story going on that if we touch the depths, the roots of this, if we go and actually go into the cosmic particles of our creation, then we will see the bigger story being played out here. And you will easily see that the storyline, the information, all of it, everything that comes on John Oliver, Bill Maher, Jon Stewart, Russell Brand, Stephen Colbert, they all have this sub-layer of information that has an intent behind it. And you can feel it with your intuition, you can feel it with your heart, you can feel what's going on, and see that these stories are connected to a bigger story. And once all the stories get connected, and we can see the compassionate depths of why such lies, why such distraction and busyness and selling. Because the other side of the destruction that's happening right now from the side effects of war and manipulation over so many years, the what they call the upside that's going to be coming next is this transhumanism, artificial intelligence movement that is being set up as the evolution of humanity. And it's not. It is not the evolution of humanity. This is an idea. And if you go to the depths of it, it is an idea of control and enslavement. This is a deeper layer of locking the human design into a dependent and desensitized state of existence. This is not anything that that anybody is going to benefit from on a spiritual level. It's not going to happen like that. That's already been understood by the foundations of which this whole infrastructure is being set up. So storylines going back to 1982, 83, 85, when HBO was coming out, whatever time frame that was, these storylines are being sold into our subconscious since then. And what's happening today is we are allowing what we didn't know was being sold to us manifest into our reality, because we weren't aware of its existence in the storyline being sold to us back then. We weren't aware that it was this was part of the whole system. So we think it's part of the system, the only system. Just like Back to the Future was made to create an idea of what the future is going to look like based upon what they want to keep hidden. It's not based upon what they want to release to us. There's way more information and technology that could be released beyond this ain't nothing. That was just a setup. Everything has been set up to keep an idea of limitation going, and this is down to our own thought process. That the being triggered to stay inside the emotional body, being triggered to stay in a judgmental state of mind, being triggered to separate ourselves from our brothers and sisters as if their trials and tribulations are not our own. That whole idea is part of human nature, and it doesn't get spoken upon because the idea of war and destruction is the moneymaker of this whole matrix. It's the moneymaker of this whole system. And there's multiple layers of intelligence that are going on that are working to get their little piece of the pie here and there. And when we're stuck in such a judgmental frame of mind, you can see that if you point at anything, it's just going to slip off and go somewhere else. And most of the time, you'll end up pointing all those fingers back at yourself and seeing that it's you that has the power to amplify this experience, to evolve this experience with your own abilities. There's nothing else that anybody else can sell or give to you. But that's the idea. That's the storyline, is that you have to be sold something. You have to be given something to hide something else in order to create a desensitized reality that is for a manipulative structure. And we don't know. We're talking about building communities and consciousness, and we don't even understand our own capabilities right now, because there's so many other storylines that are being held from us, so many other teachings and information streams that are being filtered from the awareness. And one of the biggest ones is stuff like HBO. The movie theater is just an extension of that. The news is just an extension of that. HBO is right now is playing like the split person. It's going into split the transhumanistic world and this other storyline that's going to be sold to the people. So check it out. Keep your eyes open and watch out for these dinosaurs.